Welcome to the Vantage HR Influencers Podcast. This podcast is sponsored by Vantage Circle, the simple and AI-powered rewards and recognition platform for employee engagement.
In today's dynamic workplace, the fusion of AI and personalized employee experiences is reshaping how we engage at work. This intersection highlights a critical need for tailored approaches that cater to diverse workforce needs. As we navigate this technological era, delving into AI-powered personalized experiences becomes crucial. Welcome, listeners, to another enlightening episode of the Vantage Influencers Podcast. I'm your host, Sanjeevani Saikia. Together, we will unravel the intricacies of HR's vibrant tapestry, diving into topics designed to pique your curiosity and fuel inspiration. So today, join us for an engaging discussion with Mr. Ravi Rangaraju, Senior HR Business Partner at Thomson Reuters. We will explore how AI can shape personalized employee experiences beyond the usual. Hi, Ravi.
Hi, Sanjeevani. Good evening. How are you doing today?
Good evening. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you so much.
Great.
And thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
It's our pleasure. Absolutely our pleasure. First of all, I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here today to talk about personalized employee experience in the age of AI. But before we dive in, I'd love to hear a bit about your journey. So could you walk us through your corporate journey so far?
Okay, sure. So I am an engineer turned HR professional. So I've done my electronics and communication engineering from a very reputed college in Bangalore, which is Ravi College of Engineering. And I'm a true blue Bangalore boy, born, brought up here. When I was doing my engineering, I have to take you back close to 20 plus years.
Love to hear that. Yeah.
At that point in time, we had the big software services wave going on in the country. And during the placement season, we used to have the four big software organizations, TCS, Infosys, Wipro, Cognizant, and HCL would come and take people batches by batches and make them software engineers.
Yeah.
I got disillusioned somewhere that, how come a computer science engineer is also a software engineer, an electronics engineer is a software engineer, then a civil engineer has become a software engineer. Well, I was good at coding, but somehow I felt coding is not my cup of tea. The passion was missing. And the disillusionment was because everybody is jumping into the bandwagon to become a software engineer. I want to do something different. That's when I thought, okay, instead of getting into software, let me get into the side that manages people who do the software. That's when I got introduced to this domain called as human resource management. Then I did my MBA in HR from a reputed institute in UK, and then followed it up with a few certifications along with a PhD level program. Started my career as an executive search consultant in an executive search firm. I was there for about 2.5 years. And then opportunities found my way. I got a great opportunity to work for this company called as Reuters. That was how the company was called before the merger. So the two companies merged in 2008 to become Thomson Reuters. Before that, Thomson was separate and Reuters was separate. So I joined this company called as Reuters, which is a big brand in terms of news and media business. So I joined there as a HR business partner, looking after what is called as the group functions, which is a combination of technology, finance, site management, and all these other functions put together. I joined them in 2007, and it's been 16 and a half years that I've grown with the organization. Reuters became Thomson Reuters, and I've grown both in gait, size, and personality and type of organization. I've moved around quite a bit. I've been very lucky to have had work with fantastic managers in the organization here. What I do currently at Thomson Reuters is I lead the HR business partnering function for all of our technology business in India. So before I explain a role in a minute, I can just give you what does Thomson Reuters do. So Thomson Reuters, we are a content-driven, AI-enabled technology organization. Now, what do we mean by that? Now, depending on what kind of a customer you are, if you are a lawyer, you would require a lot of data to actually put together a case that you're fighting for your client, you're representing your client in the court. You want a lot of historical data, you want to prepare your business case, your case summary to go and present it in the court. So you need a lot of data points. We give you those data points through our cutting-edge AI-enabled products called as Thomson Reuters Westlaw. Similarly, if you're a tax consultant, you're consulting with a huge multinational organization, you're helping them file their taxes, you use our data to help your customers file taxes. Then to manage corporate and organizational risk, we give data management there. So that's a data-driven technology AI company. And then we also have other business units like government business and the much branded Reuters business unit, which is there. That's what Thomson Reuters does. And within Thomson Reuters in India, we're close to 6,000 people. And the technology business, we're about 2,500 people strong. I'm based in Bangalore and I lead a team of super motivated HR business partners who are spread across the country. And we partner with the business leaders to enable them to become successful in what they do. We help them succeed. So that in a nutshell is my career journey and what I do at Thomson Reuters now.
Great. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. Really, really appreciate it. So with your permission, I would like to begin today's discussion.
Sure.
Ravi, I believe the notion of a personalized employee experience has undergone a profound transformation, notably with the integration of AI. This intriguing amalgamation of technology and human engagement is profoundly influencing how individuals perceive and navigate their work environments.
Mhm.
So, delving into this fusion, I'm eager to explore what does the personalized employee experience truly entail in today's workplace, particularly in the light of AI's role in shaping it. So, what do you have to say about that?
Okay, that's an excellent question. Let me take a very different example to explain this context. I'm a foodie, so I love taking examples from the food domain.
Sure.
Let's take a food ordering app. It could be either a Swiggy or a Zomato. I had this experience as late as last week. My daughter wanted to order the Subway for her. So I logged into one of these apps. And the beauty is it allows you to choose the kind of Subway you would want to make, the kind of filling you want to put in, plus all the sauces which is there. It allows you to completely customize it, and then I placed the order and got it for her. Incidentally, yesterday I was just logging into the app again to order something else, and it threw me a pop-up. It says, "Hey, day before yesterday you ordered this Subway now, and this is what you had actually put in your sub to make it customizable for you. Would you like to order this again?" So I was like, "Oh my god, it remembers what all I had ordered." And coupled with that order, it also shows me various other options. People who ordered this Subway also ordered this, and we're giving you a 30% discount if you order along with this, and you make it a bundled package. So it gives you hard to resist offers, and it actually makes you spend more than you actually want to spend. Similarly, in the same context, when we talk about personalized employee experience, now when I started my career way back in the corporate, you used to, when you joined an organization, you only knew that, okay, you'll be shown a chart that you're here today, and this is your career progression. If you're joined as an analyst, if you joined as an HR analyst, you become a senior analyst, then a lead analyst, manager, senior manager, and director. And everybody had to follow the similar path. But today, we are living in the area of hyper-personalization. Wherever you see, be it YouTube podcasts or podcasts like these, everybody is making it hyper-personalized to a certain section of society, a certain segmentation of their customer, or even presenting themselves as a brand in the market. So everybody today wants some amount of detailing and personalization to give that experience, which has become a big word in the industry today. So what does this mean for employee experience? So this refers to tailoring what firstly the organization needs are, what the organization wants are, and how do we bring in certain tools and resources to marry the individual needs with the organization needs. Such an approach also brings into consideration employees' unique strength, their working styles, career aspiration. Now, using AI, it gives you a big forum. To give you another example, now how does AI fit in here? Now, when you go to a hospital, the first thing the doctor does is take a blood test. Now, why a blood test? A blood test gives you what is called as your baseline data to assess, okay, what are all the various parameters that are there and where are you currently? Now, based on this baseline parameter and readings, a certain treatment can be planned, and then you go on measuring whether you're meeting the required criteria or not. Similarly, where we have seen AI make a big plunge is to at least see what the field looks like. What are all the different data sources that are there in your organization that constitute what your business is? Now, how do we bring all that together into career planning and career management? Employee experience is the key. I look at it from two perspectives. Now, how does it look like for an organization? How does it look like for an employee?
Sure.
At an organizational level, we always grapple with this situation as HR professionals that many times our job descriptions are not very clear. We ask managers to share a job description, it's not very clear. With AI, you can actually go ahead and get a very clear job description so you know what you really want to hire for. And about referring back to that baseline that I was talking about, today organizations using AI are moving towards what is called as becoming a skill-based organization rather than a role-based organization.
Yes.
So technology is really helping put that and bring that to the forefront. If that is what it is from an organizational standpoint, from an employee perspective, post-hiring, when I join an organization, the first thing that I would want to know is, okay, what role have I been hired for? And what do I need to do to become successful in that role? What are A, B, C, D, E that I need to do to ensure that I'm fulfilling the skill and competencies and the role requirements, whatever is there? That's the first level where AI can really play a part to clarify what an employee is supposed to do. Then comes the suggestion part. Now, looking at multiple variables, for example, I've been with my organization for 16 and a half years. So if somebody wants to look at, okay, what all has Ravi Rangaraju done in the organization so far? What are all the skill sets he has built in? What are all the assignments that he has worked for? What have been his previous performance ratings? And what have been some of the feedback that his stakeholders have given? Using all these data are available in various sources and formats. Using AI, I combine all of that and form a summary, a picturized summary saying, okay, this is what Ravi Rangaraju is in the organization. And based on this, what are certain roles, responsibilities that Ravi can apply for, be it at his same level and be it at the next level. So that is a kind of personalization that today AI has brought to the table.
Yeah. So when we think about AI in the context of career development, it's incredible how technology can assist in identifying opportunities that perfectly match an employee's strengths and aspirations. So there have been instances where AI algorithms analyze skill sets and personal preferences to suggest career paths. Could you share some examples or insights into how AI facilitates this alignment between an individual's aspirations and potential career trajectories?
Sure. Again, great question. The funny part is a lot of companies are talking about all these things, but not many companies have actually figured this out. That's the reality. We're all learning because we're still grappling what AI is all about and what the potential of AI can be. Having said that, again, when you look at organizations, especially from a technology perspective, since I come from the technology background, I can only speak for the industry that I know of. Broadly, it can be classified into two kinds of organizations. One is product organizations and the other is services organizations. Service organizations have leapfrogged in terms of building a skill-based organization and leveraging technology as far as possible to help create career paths for employees. Why? Because the employee strength in not in thousands, in lakhs.
Yes.
Most of our service organizations employ 100,000 people, 200,000 people, 300,000 people. And it is humanly impossible to actually go and document everything and, look at it with just one pair of eyes or two pairs of eyes. You really need technology to bring the data together and understand various trends that is coming from.
Yes.
In fact, I was in one of the HR conferences last month where we were talking about AI and they had invited a leading services organization to come and share how they have gone ahead and developed a skill-based organization and how they have leveraged AI. And it was a beautifully explained example which they gave in terms of how they have done it. And that is something where that a lot of companies can use as case study. Yeah. So what is happening is first they're starting as a baseline in terms of building what are the current skill set that I have and what is the competency level of my employees at those skill that I'm hiring for currently. Then I always see what is my business pipeline, what is my role requirement, and what's going to be the deals pipeline, and what skills are required for those upcoming roles and of the future. And then they do a mapping that, okay, today I'm here, where do I need to be? And to get there, what do I need to do? That is where technology actually helps to bring in these things together. And then each employee, when they join an organization, is given a very clear roadmap. It gives, because a lot of companies do testing, right, when they hire people, and very clearly employees know what is the skill level and competency level in the particular role that they're hired for. And then it's also given that if you're at X level of skill and competency, if you move at X plus 20, you can get into the different role, or you can get into a new account, or you can get into another role which you have been aspiring for. Once you achieve that, once you demonstrate your preparedness either by taking in various certifications or participating in whatever those role requirements are, you are given a particular opportunity, either laterally or vertically. So this is something that companies are looking into and doing it. And many companies, quite a few companies have been successful in building a skill-based organization and leveraging technology. The hindsight to that, the problem that I see is, because again, we're building all of this for the skills of the future. So now today, last 2-3 years ago, cloud was a big thing in the market. Now it is AI. Maybe 10 years ago, it was all about site reliability engineering, DevOps, and all other technologies. Skills, by their nature, as of now, they're very critical, but they become plain vanilla and business as usual skills later on. And whenever there's any of these hot skills come in the market, everybody wants to get into that kind of a skill. But in an organization, practically speaking, I can give opportunities to, let's say, top 5% or 10% of my staff to work on those critical niche skills or the new skills in the market. I need a lot of motivated employees to actually work on my core work, which is there, which is keeping the lights on, running the engine, which is not in the niche skill, but in the plain vanilla skills that is making the large chunk of money for me. So the challenge with doing a skill-based organization and leveraging AI, a potential fallout I see is, how do you manage the expectations and emotions of employees who want to do something which is new, and how do you retain them and make them do what is actually required to be done, which runs the engine of the organization.
Interesting. The use of AI in personalized employee experiences raises some crucial ethical considerations. With the power of data analytics and predictive algorithms, there's this delicate balance between leveraging insights and ensuring privacy and fairness. Again, this is a very important question, I think. So, what ethical considerations come to mind when we talk about using AI to tailor the employee experiences?
Of course, when every technology is a breakthrough technology and gives us a lot of hope and gives us a lot of features that can be explored and a lot of advantages that can be sought, it also comes with its own set of problems that you'll have to look into and you'll have to be really careful about. I think especially for AI, again, what AI? AI is a mechanism where you feed in data and it analyzes data and gives you back certain data.
Yeah.
So it's very important when you're collecting data, what is it that you're collecting about an employee? Data security becomes paramount. For example, many companies use HR bots to converse with their employees, to find out. Now, HR bots were in the beginning stages of, when in the automation journey, HR bots were more transactional, saying, hey, what do I do if I need to find this letter for me? What is my leave balance? How can I check whether my tax is submitted or no? So from mundane tasks, now companies are measuring employee sentiments. Now that's where it gets into a slightly different ball game, because when you're measuring employee sentiments, when you're asking employees how they are feeling, you're getting into the emotional part of employees. It's very important how you collect this data, where this data is stored, and who has access to this data. So data security becomes important.
Yes.
Secondly, one problem that we've seen of generative AI, and a lot of Gen AI companies have also called it out very specifically. Even ChatGPT calls it that not all responses that the AI gives is right. So you must be really careful when you're using what output you get from generative AI tools. So there's always a certain fear or fear of bias or amount of fairness, because how the model has been trained is very, very important. So bias and fairness is something that we will have to keep in mind. Third and most important thing, while technology is a great enabler, employees should have freedom. Employees should have autonomy to voluntarily choose how much to share and how much not to share.
Yes.
For example, companies collect information like, what's your age, date of birth, gender, sexual orientation, and all this. Especially in our company, we call that as PII, which is personally identifiable information. That is 100% confidential. It's strictly confidential data. Nobody has access to it. Similarly, and again, certain of these data, we give it to the employee voluntarily, whether you want to share it or no. So autonomy should be in the hands of the employee. When autonomy is not there in the hands of the employee, that's when the system takes over. So it's very important. And finally, I think consent is very important. Employees should absolutely know what is being measured with their consent, how is it being used, what is the fairness that is being used with, because all of this creates an environment of trust. When the trust is broken, even if you have the best of the systems, it will fail. So consent is very, very important. So these are certain ethical considerations that companies need to consider when deploying artificial intelligence for be it personalized career experience or anything for that matter.
You've highlighted some really significant points, I must say, especially the consent. I think that is very, very crucial. Ravi, I think maintaining that equilibrium between automation and the human touch in personalized employee experiences is quite the challenge.
Right.
We've got this influx of technology, streamlining processes, yet we are striving to retain that personal connection.
Right.
So, in your opinion, where should this balance ideally lie when we integrate AI into creating personalized experiences for employees? Or where do you see the sweet spot lying in this equation?
Well, so it's like saying what's a good score in a T20 game. It's very difficult to say because it depends on a lot of factors.
Yes.
It depends on the playing conditions, the pitch, the form that your player is in. If you're batting first, the dynamics changes. If you're batting second, the dynamics changes. Yeah. So finding that sweet spot is a very difficult challenge. But what I would see and what I've learned over my analysis of these kind of systems and all of that, and a message that I would like to give to my friends listening to this podcast is the balance should lie. It is a balance between automation and human touch. And I think the guiding principle should be that technology should be used to enhance and not replace the human experience at work. That is very, very important. I'll give you another example that many companies are grappling with today. When COVID hit us, everybody went helter-skelter. We all said, okay, please, your health is important, family is important, please go and work from home. We all got used to working from home for 2-3 years. And then slowly after COVID wave faded, we started resuming work in batches in office. And most of the companies are now looking at hybrid working. Now, certain companies quoted hybrid working of, let's say, bringing only a certain percentage critical staff to office and leaving all the others working from home as an industry-wide business model. They sold it to customers saying this model is going to stay and all of that. But quickly they've realized that it's not happening because employees working from home are not feeling that connect with the organization. So they've all started calling people back. In fact, many organizations have completely reversed the trend. All those people who quoted hybrid working is a winner, now they've asked employees to come back almost all 5 days a week, or most companies are transitioning towards 3 days a week. Why is this happening? Because in these last 2.5 years, a lot of companies have hired thousands of people, and among them, a good percentage of people are all freshers, or even laterals for that matter, have joined the company, but they've never seen the organization. They've never seen the people. They've never experienced what your culture is like.
Yes.
For example, now I've been with my company for 16 years. Even if I choose to work from home permanently or I choose to work from a different country or wherever, I'm still rooted to my organization because I know what it is. I know my people. I know my manager. I know my colleagues. I know my organization's value system. I know my organization's culture. So I will never feel out of place. But for somebody who's joined a company and never experienced it, it is very difficult for that person to align with the organization. And especially this kind of hybrid working is very new even to us as human beings as well, right? Because there's a saying which says out of sight is out of mind. And a lot of these unnecessary unconscious biases come into play that if I see an employee more often in office, I tend to get closer to that person from a work perspective. Somebody who's not there in office, out of sight becomes out of mind. So that empathy is something which we are losing. Now, where does automation and this AI come here? Then we started employing HR bots to actually speak to employees to find out, hey, how are you doing? What's happening in your workplace and all of that. And we started collecting data. But again, with all the data as well, what we realized and what many companies realized is even when you use the best of technology which is available, nothing can replace the human touch. So a lot of companies now are investing a lot of time and energy into bringing in back a lot of employee engagement activities in the workplace, making the workplace a very buzzing place.
Yeah.
And they're actually redefining what it is to work in the office.
Yes.
And many companies like us, we are saying that, hey, in office, it is not the place for you to come and do your coding. It is not that you sit in a place and just sit and do what is supposed to. That you can do it at home. You come to office to actually create meaningful conversations with colleagues, have that water cooler banter, participate in training programs, participate in networking sessions, speak to people, speak to leaders, build your network. You leverage that time. So I think the balance should be that technology should be seen as an enabler and not as a hindrance, and should not replace the human touch.
Could it be inferred that individuals working remotely might not fully grasp or comprehend the nuances of the work cultures they're operating within? Essentially, I'm curious if there's a potential gap in understanding for remote workers regarding the intricacies of their work culture. So, what do you have to say about that?
That's where the role of the manager becomes very important. Now, even though an employee is working remotely, and there is nothing wrong in working remotely, right? Depending on the role,
Yes.
if the role requires you to work in office and it is a people-facing role, yes, you have to be in office. But if you're in a very process-oriented environment and it doesn't require you to be in office, absolutely you can do it from home. That's where the role of the employee's first line manager or the reporting manager becomes important. Again, that cannot be replaced by a bot or by technology. Only when a human and a human communicate, you can understand the feelings, you can understand emotions, you can understand what an employee is going through. Now, a bot may ask, "Hi, how are you doing?" But then I just respond saying, "I'm doing fine." But whereas when, like you and I, we are talking,
Yes.
that emotional connect is there. So as a manager, you may ask me, "Ravi, I understand your mother was not well. How is she doing now? What did you do during the weekend? How's family going on?" You build those empathy conversations that builds a lot of connect and trust. So even though people are working from home, and a certain percentage of people do that, but the role of the human manager becomes very important, which AI cannot replace.
Yes. Again, Ravi, although providing value to employees is crucial, but the businesses still want to quantify the ROI to justify AI investments. So, what metrics and methods help demonstrate the success of tech enabled personalized employee experience? How do we basically gauge their impact?
Okay, absolutely. End of the day, it all boils down to this, right? Because you're
Yes.
making significant investments in deploying these technologies, you really want to see success. Now, how I would look at it is success depends on what your problem statement is. For what have you deployed AI for? And what are you using it and what are you measuring? Now, for some people, the challenge is to foster a culture of internal movement of employees, making people move between roles.
Yeah.
For some people, success could be, I want more of women professionals, diversity percentage at a leadership level. I want to increase that. I'm leveraging technology for that. In case of personalization of employee experience, now does it mean I want to measure how is employees' engagement with the organization, or do we want to measure an employee's role clarity? What kind of clarity does an employee have with his or her role in the organization? Is an employee finding sufficient career pathing information, or do I want to measure well-being, or do I want to develop leadership competencies? So it totally depends on what is my problem statement, what are the key performance indicators for that, and how do I go about measuring it. That's how the success would be. One key measure that I would absolutely say, especially with technology, is the adoption rate. That becomes very, very important. You release something new in the market, but you don't find takers for it. Again, if ChatGPT was introduced, but nobody was using it, the adoption rate was very low, then even with the breakthrough technology, it would not have been a success. But with ChatGPT being introduced, within a few hours, the usage rate, the sign-up rate went up to millions, is what I understand. Now, that exactly is how a successful technology makes a presence in the market. And that's a measure of success. And I also feel success also depends on, you're not bringing in this kind of AI or technology just to plug in something which is a gap in the organization. Many companies do that, and that's where the problem actually becomes. Because if you just want to fix one leaking hole, it does not, because you'll have to look at it end to end. Because especially with career planning and career management, software service organizations do really well, but that is where software product organizations have to figure this out. Because in a software product organization, we don't hire as many people as the services companies do. our business models are very different in product organizations because we don't work on deals or pipelines because the work that we do is for ourselves. So we don't have a continuous pipeline of roles available, nor do we have a bench of employees sitting in. So if I deploy a lot of technology and I give employees clarity on their career path, I give them a lot of tools and resources, and a lot of employees are ready by leveraging these resources for the next level role, I need to have a framework that can give them those roles, either at their own level or one level above, or however we want to look at it. So enabling these kind of technologies end to end, so that becomes very, very important. And the success would depend on how successfully I'm able to do that, and employees adopt this technology and like it. And some employers where, for example, attrition is a problem, by using these technologies, attrition comes down. That could be a measure of success. So again, it totally depends on the problem statement. How do you deploy it end to end, and for what purpose you're doing it? That's how success for me would be dependent on or measured.
Understood. So Ravi, we are arriving at the end of today's episode. But before we let you go, there's one last thing that both our listeners and I would love to know your take on. So as AI capabilities grow exponentially, how do you envision the future of curating employee experiences on an individual basis, say 10 years from now? What might be possible? What do you think?
Okay. The frank answer is I don't know, because we are still grappling with AI, what exactly it is, what is the potential of AI. And today they're also talking about artificial general intelligence, which means AI becoming understanding human emotions. So there's a lot of things that we still need to unravel and understand about AI. But at least for this particular kind of a question, I've always been thinking, right, what can the future be? And I asked ChatGPT, that's a crystal ball. I don't use Google anymore. I asked ChatGPT. So as my question, I asked this kind of a question some time back. Now, how does this look in future? So ChatGPT says there will be a lot of advancements characterized by more interconnected, intelligent, and adaptive workplace. And as companies embrace these kind of developments, they will also grapple with the challenge of maintaining a balance between technology and human touch. There will be a lot of prioritization from an ethical consideration standpoint, giving autonomy in the hands of the employees in the overall construct of employee well-being. That becomes very important. So for that, again, whatever technology comes, ChatGPT also says continuous collaboration between HR, IT, leaders, and employees will be key in realizing the full potential. So what I would say is that AI will not replace a human, but a human with an AI skill will definitely would. So it is incumbent upon all of us, especially HR professionals, to embrace AI, to learn AI skills, to learn prompt engineering, and to make best use of the tool that is available to us to see how best we can adopt it for the benefit of the organization and employees.
Okay.
And the future is always bright.
Yeah, hopefully. So we have reached the end of today's episode. Do you have any message for our listeners? Our listeners would be very delighted to hear it from you. Also, our audience might want to stay in touch with you post this podcast. So it would be great if you could tell them how they can reach out to you.
Fantastic. Okay, I'm there on LinkedIn. So I would love to connect with folks on LinkedIn and expand my professional network and learn from all our brilliant audience out there. As a parting message, again, the future always brings a lot of hope and challenges. We have to remain positive because end of the day, everything will work out over a period of time where there are teething troubles, but we need to ride the tide and not become part of the tide. We need to ride it to ensure that we come out successful. And AI is a great tool that will enable us if we use it the right way. So I would say, learn more about it, invest personal time and energy to learn about it and make use of it for the benefit of the society at large.
Ravi, it's been a pleasure to have you as our guest today. Your insights and expertise have been invaluable, and we are grateful for the time you've taken to share your knowledge with our listeners. So thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Ravi.
Thank you. I'm truly grateful for you having me on your show, and I really loved it. Loved the conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for listening to the Vantage HR Influencers Podcast. Please do subscribe to Vantage HR Influencers Podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and our YouTube channel for new episodes.